Over 90% of Malawi's arable land is infertile. This poses a significant challenge for smallholder farmers who tend to inorganic fertilizers to boost crop harvests. Without them, the fields yield barely enough, and with the rising cost of fertilizer, many would rather go without the import. But this is not an issue to one Joseph Bello, a lead farmer at Gooke irrigation scheme in Nsanje. The small-scale farmer from traditional authority Mlolo uses Gliricidia tree to improve soil fertility. He adopted this way of farming way back when Imagine Africa introduced the concept to farmers in his area.
Our technologies usually are based on the green manure cover crops. And this concept of green manure cover crops, we have a number of trees which we are promoting. First of all, we are promoting Gliricidia to improve soil fertility. And also we are promoting Acacia gapini for live fencing around the fields of these farmers who are practicing this concept. The idea is to protect livestock from invading into the fields of our farmers. Also, we are promoting other green manure cover crops such as lab, beans, and also pigeon peas.
For 3 months, I followed Bello at Gooke irrigation scheme in Nsanje, starting, of course, from the day he planted his main seed in May this year.
After preparing our field with Gliricidia leaves, we find seeds, and when planting, we measure a distance of 3 centimeter rulers from one hole to another. And from one terrace to another, we measure 5 rulers.
Marula measure 5, 150 centimeters. Komaso temaza mirengo mo sempanisa.
The next visit was in June. At this time, 3 weeks had gone since Bello planted his maize crop. Bello applies Gliricidia tree leaves as a form of top-dressing fertilizer, and the crop's response is but impressive.
After 3 weeks, there is impressive progress. As you can see, with the application of Gliricidia, the crop is doing well and it is growing fast.
This is the field as seen in July, some 8 weeks after. The maize crop is showing remarkable progress, has huge stalks and green leaves, which is a sign that it is well fed.
All I can say is that great things have happened to my maize crop. This means that Gliricidia has provided all the necessary nutrients to the crop more than chemical fertilizer.
Impressed with how Gliricidia trees is transforming lives of farmers at Gooke irrigation scheme, District Agriculture Office Makanga EPA in Nsanje in the month of September organized an open day for farmers in the district.
Ndikupeka ulangizi kuti alimi asinthe kale makolo amalima kosathira fertilizer.
I am urging farmers to change their mindsets. Long time ago, our forefathers used to grow crops without relying on chemical fertilizer, and they were harvesting more yields. But when chemical fertilizer was introduced, our land is no longer fertile and it can't produce. Therefore, we need to switch to the leguminous tree of Gliricidia, which restores fertility to the land and makes it productive. I am pleading with farmers to plant more Gliricidia trees and apply the leaves to their fields, and increase crop yield and save money, which could have been used to buy fertilizer.
Extension worker at Makanga EPA, Jambo Shenyenga, says the number of farmers who are adopting the new technology is increasing.
Most farmers have adopted the technology just because through the demonstrations they learned a lot, and this has also increased their production. at the household level. As you know, that in Lower Shire, we have persistent dry spells and floods due to climate change issues. So with the planting of Gliricidia, it's part of afforestation, so it has restored the environment.
Towards the end of the month of September 2024, I visited Bello for the last time. This was the time to reap from his sweat.
Isanga yanga ncho zama kwambiri chifukwa ntchito imene ndimagwira kudzera ku Emerging Africa imene matiphunzitsa kuti zigwisa ntchito Gliricidia kuthira munda mwa fertilizer lero zapherezera ndithu.
I am super excited that the demonstration work that I was doing with support from Emerging Africa has finally bared fruits. Using only Gliricidia as fertilizer, I have harvested big crops of maize than farmers who use chemical fertilizer. I am so happy.
Country Director for Emerging Africa, Chimwemwe Limani, expressed his satisfaction after seeing that lead farmer Joseph Bello has demonstrated that it is possible to do farming without relying on chemical fertilizer. He is appealing to well-wishers to join hands with his organization in replicating this method across the country.
I'm very excited to find out that our technologies are working, where we are promoting green manure cover crops and the permaculture technologies. And for example, where we are standing now is a food forest for Mr. Bello, who has proved to use fertilizer, which is coming from trees. That's agroforestry. And mainly we are promoting Gliricidia tree. And in this farm, it's not just only depending on one crop. There is maize, there are also bananas and other crops which this food forest has. So this is a technology which has been proven and it's working. Our wish is that the government and other development partners should come to hold a hand with us to scale up the prototype, because we have found out that this is working. Now our major challenge is to scale it up to the other farmers who do not know about this technology.
Reacting to this, agriculture expert Tamani Nkono says it is true that leguminous trees such as Gliricidia improve soil fertility and increase crop yield, only that adoption rate has been low in the country.
There had been a number of research that was done in the mid-90s to try to look at some trees that have the ability to fix nitrogen into the soil. So Gliricidia was one of the trees that was researched on, but we also have got other trees like for example, Fridebia, which in Chihuahua we got in Sangu. So the leaves of these trees, they are rich in nitrogen, that when they fall into the ground, they are able to fix nitrogen into the soil. So, but the challenge that we have is that the adoption rate of this technique has not been impressive. It's something else that I think farmers needs to be encouraged. And I think probably your story could also be one of the things that could be used as something to showcase that the agroforestry is a technique that can also be used to ensure that we are increasing soil fertility, but also reduce the use of chemical fertilizers. So indeed, this technique is something else I'm very familiar with. It is scientifically known as agroforestry. And it's a technique that has proven to work, though the adoption rate has been very, very low in the country.
So why do you think the adoption rate has been slow, as you have put it? What is the reason particularly? I
think most of the farmers, they would want to look at quick results, because in most cases, when you're talking about planting trees together with crops, and then for the results to be seen, it may take quite a bit of time. But if you look at crops like Gliricidia, for example, it's a plant that grows a bit faster, and the farmers are able to reap the benefits maybe within a year or two. But most of the farmers probably are not patient enough to do that.
Now, we've seen prices of fertilizer on the markets skyrocketing. Should we say this is the way to go?
Yes, this is the way to go, taking into consideration the challenges that we are having with the inorganic fertilizers. So I think farmers need to be encouraged to look for alternatives. So agroforestry is one of the ways. that farmers needs to go through. Of course, I know that much of the talk about alternatives has been on the organic fertilizers like manure and Mbeya and all those things. I've not heard much in terms of talking of agroforestry as one of the technologies that could be used to ensure that we are supplementing the use of inorganic fertilizers with the intercropping with trees. So I think it's something else that needs to be put back on the agenda. Let farmers know about these technologies. Let them be encouraged. Those probably that used to try could be case studies that needs to be put forward.
United Nations Sustainable Goal number 2 seeks to double the agricultural productivity and incomes of small-scale food producers, in particular women, indigenous people and family farmers, through secure and equal access to land, other productive resources and inputs, knowledge, financial services, markets and opportunities for value addition and non-farm employment by 2030. With this innovation, Bello is hoping that the method will be adopted by many farmers across the country and realize this goal.